Yes, sir.
Mhm. Yeah, Vishnupriya, go ahead.
Uh, Collections is like we can say that like extended of arrays. Like we can store not only single data types, we can store different data types. It's like extension. We have some methods in array, but in collections we have more than methods we have in array. We have many methods. Like in normal array, we don't we can't add a method in like if you have a length 5 means we can't add sixth element, but in collections we can do, and we can add middle element also. We have so many extra features in collections rather than arrays. So I can say it's like extension of arrays concept like this. There are some more benefits in collections. According to my understanding, I got this.
Okay, so any other pointers on the collections?
Collection is a framework, sir, and it is a bunch of interfaces and classes, and we use collections to manipulate data.
Okay, so let me talk about this one. So um, the most important thing for this particular collections. Let me bring up the whiteboard. See, where we will be getting these particular challenges is, so storing a single data. So now, if at all you are storing a single data, then anyways, we'll be using this particular, the concept of variables, and then this can be done. But if you wanted to store a bunch of data, so how it would be and how it can be manipulated. So now, for this one, so we have been went to a topic called arrays, right? So now with this particular arrays, so we are going to handle this particular bunch of data and then it would be possible. But what is the problem now? We wanted to perform some CRUD operations, CRUD. Someone will say that CRUD operations, some whatever the things which you wanted, you can pronounce on this. Now, what are these things? What are these particular CRUD operations? So now this it would be happen in the database. Database means a collection of data. So where you perform certain operations, it is called the CRUD operations. Now, what is this particular CRUD operations is? So this one stands for create.
Create.
So now when you go for this one, so this is create. So this is read,
Read.
and this one is update, and this one is delete. See, the most important thing is if you have a bunch of data, out of this particular bunch of data, so how you would be accessing this particular, how you perform these particular operations is what matters a lot. Now, when you're performing this particular operation, for an example, if you have in an array, I have 10,000 usernames I have been stored. Now, out of this particular 10,000, so if I wanted to do the create is nothing but even insert also. Okay, so uh, if you wanted to insert, okay, if you wanted to search, if you wanted to delete, if you wanted to modify, means enhance some means enhancing some particular data. For example, now previously it is um, CK. So now you wanted to update this one as Chris. So now when you are changing this particular thing from this to this, so these are called the modifications or the enhancements. So deleting means you're deleting particular record, and searching means you're searching for a particular record, and you're trying to insert a record. Okay, insert, delete, is a insert, search, delete, modify. Okay, so now when you wanted to perform these particular actions on this particular when you have the 10,000 records, how feasible it is in the arrays? Will it be okay, not okay? How much time it will take? So how it was going to handle? So these are the really great challenges for us. So for this one, Java has been come up with a particular option called collections. The name itself, it was saying that collections. And believe me, uh, if you know these particular collections, half of your programming would be gone into this. In terms of when you do the programming and when you wanted to do this particular data. So if you clearly understand this particular concept of collections, so it would be really pretty easy for you to handle the bunch of data. Hey, for every topic you are saying the same thing. When you're talking about operators, you said the same thing, and then when you're talking about the strings, you said the same thing. When you're doing with the loops and conditions, you said the same thing. When you're doing with the oops, you said the same thing. See, Java is like an ocean. On this particular thing, we have been chosen only particular topics which are really very important and which we use it in our test automation. So each and every topic which we pick, so this is really important. So that's the reason we have been choosing those topics. Not all topics we have been taken it. Whatever it is required for the implementation of the test automation. So these are really mandatory and this is very important because you wanted to store your test data. So the test data you would be having, for an example, you'll be storing with a set of records. Example, so now you wanted to store um, so for an example, now you wanted to store the records. So Chris, and then 1407 007, and then you would be means this is the ID number. So Chris ID number, and then you'd be having the address, and then mobile number, and then state and city. So those details you'll be storing it like this. You need to store the 10,000 records of 10,000 different students. So at that point of time, so how we'll be storing all these particular data. And then whenever you wanted, you will be retrieving this particular data and passing to the test automation. So now these all things are the test data, right? So to store these particular test data and retrieving the particular test data and passing to the test script. So now this is what our test script. And for this particular script or program, so you need to key in this particular test data. So how we are going to key in? So you remember, right, when you're writing this particular test cases, so you would have been kept a separate column for the test data column. So you're storing all these particular data and then passing that particular test data for your test cases. The similar way, this is what your test script. So for test script, you need to store all the data and then you need to pass to them, right? So how you will pass this? So storing all this particular test data would be done in the collections. So without collections, you can't, I mean, you can't bypass this particular collections because you're going to store. So because if I have 1,000 records to be stored, do you think that 1,000 records you'll be storing in 1,000 different variables? Okay, now I have for a single record, I have 6 variables. Now 6 data is there. So now for an example here, mobile number I stored in 9 means for an example, I have been stored in integer and I have been stored this one in the alphanumericals. This is numericals on alphabets. So when we have this all, so you wanted to have it in a different variables. So now I have 10,000 records, 10,000 into the 6,000 variables you will be deriving? Absolutely not. We will keep into one particular variable and then access this all. So for doing these all things, it means you should able to know how to store this and how to access this. So now how to insert, search, delete, modify, these are all things you should know. And from this particular collections, that is what you are going to know. And how we are going to store and what are the different type of collections we have. So what is collection? The most important thing is what is meant by collection versus collections. Yes, yes is missing. Collection versus collection. And if you wanted to make your interview stuff, I told you, right? So debugging round and these things, it will be talking about means every round, so loops, it will go for the debugging and for a particular sections, the means whether you have a real-time experience or not. So by exceptions and handlings, we will be understanding it. So collections is also one of the most important thing to gauge your technical competency. So now this is like a string. So how you would be logically thinking on this one, and how logically you are storing your data and retrieving your data and accessing the data. So those all things would be falls as part of the collection. If someone wanted to make your interview difficult, definitely they will go and touch these collections. And this is really important topic, as in day-to-day life when you're doing your automation, the most important topic is this particular test data handling. So while doing this particular test data handling, definitely you should use these collections. And many of the people will not use this. That shows their maturity of their test automation skills. When we see their scripts, when they have been written the scripts, if they have been, for an example, I have 10 variables, all the 10 variables they are storing in 10 different things, then we can understand that these guys doesn't know the collections. So that is the reason. So you have to be very much cautious in understanding the concept of collections. So now when we do the code review, for an example, code review means what? Means I stopped doing the code review. Now I'm not doing anything. If you see, means for an example, if you written the 100 lines of code, so we will see that whether the standards of the codes are followed, and what means the standards itself, it defines, there is a document, Java coding standards document. In this particular coding standard documents, how you need to define your variables, how you need to define your methods, how you need to define your classes, and what are the Hungarian notations or the camel notations you need to follow, and how much spaces you need to give it, and how much line length you need to give it. Everything would be defined as part of this particular coding standards. There in the coding standards, how you need to define your variables, how to store your variables. If you've really gone through that particular documentation, you can understand the importance of the collections. So that is the importance of the collections. Now, to holistically to give you the quick pointers, collection is a framework which it is provided by the Java. So framework, it is nothing but, once again I'm explaining, framework, it is nothing but it's a blueprint, or it's a structure to execute something in an effective and efficient way. See, for an example, now you wanted to construct a, a three-store building. Now, when you have this particular three-store building, so you should have the proper blueprint. So with this particular proper blueprint, you're going to construct this house. Means, hey, I need my swimming pool and gym on my top of the terrace. And then in the first floor, I would be having my master bedrooms. And second floor, I'll be having all my kids and everything bedroom. And third floor, I'll be having my guests. And the fourth floor, I'll be having the kitchen and the living room. And this is how you would be planning all the things. And based upon this, it would be, the house would be created or the constructed, right? So now when you're doing this particular type of, when you wanted to do your construction properly, without having this particular architectural view or diagram, can you construct this? So this will help you to construct your building with an efficient and effective way so that it can complete it. And according to the design, it would be done. So this is called the framework. Means where I need to, means how these particular things need to be executed. So how you need to store, and how you need to search, how you need to get it, and how you need to modify. So these all things will be defined as part of the framework. And via this particular framework, the implementations would be done. So there are a lot of coding goes inside this. So just what you need to do is you need to bring those particular methods and you should use them. That's it. That is what you need to do as part of this. So now so this is a brief, very quick intro about this particular collections. So if you see the previous sessions, I think I have been taken more than 2 hours on this. I don't wanted to spend on that one. So let me just, this is a quick brief. So collections is a framework structure where it can help us to store the data and then doing this particular fluid operations as quickly as possible. Now let me go through these particular definitions. The collections is a framework, already we have been discussed, to store and then manipulate the group of objects. So now you are able to understand what is an object, and how we are able to do these particular objects and all the things. Now you have been understood that. And the collections can achieve all the operations that you perform. So now I told you, right? So searching, sorting, ascending order, descending order. You wanted to do the sorting. insertion, manipulation. Manipulation is nothing but modification or enhancements. So any words you don't get confused. Searching, insertion, manipulation, deletion, and sorting also be done. It depends upon the program to program, the project to program project. It differs. So now these are all operations you can perform on this one. Okay. So now another important thing is, so before learning these particular collections, so first of all, you should understand what is an interface. Then only you should come to this. Why we taken this particular topic, now you will understand, so that we will talk there. Okay. So here you need to understand that. So collections. What is this particular collections? Now let me talk about this one. Uh, so this is what this is what the hierarchy of the collections. See, in interviews, what usually I'll ask is, can you draw me the hierarchy of a collections? Very rare that people will draw this particular hierarchy. Now, what it matters to you is, you should understand how these particular collections are designed, and you should know this particular hierarchy also. Hey, you need to remember. We need to remember this all. Absolutely, yes, you need to remember this. And there are hardly 10 to 12, and then it is pretty simple to do this. No need to think too much about it. And before understanding this one, there are four things which you need to understand, the legends. So now these are the legends which you need to understand. So usually, even now, before I'm going to an interview, means this screenshot would be there with me. I'll just give a quick glance on this so that it would be helpful for me. So overall, so where these particular collections would be there means in the Java util package. Means we will be having different packages in the Java, right? Hey, where I'll be getting these particular Java packages? Do you remember? So now when you install your Java, and then when you create a new project, so there we'll be having a lot of packages. So one of the most important packages, util package, Java util. In this particular Java util, so you would be having these all. So now collections framework consists of two things. One is interfaces and classes. Both means it's a combination of having both the classes and the interfaces. Okay. So now guys, just give me 1 second. So one of my client is calling me. Just give me 1 second, please. I'm very sorry. So that I need to take that call. Okay, fine. So now if you see here, we'll be having, this is what the collection, right? So as part of this particular collection, so you would be having this interface class implement. Okay, so now this collection will consist of interfaces in the classes, right? It combination of the both, you'd be having it. Now, whatever in the blues, the blue color, those are interfaces. Whatever it is in the green color, those are the classes. Now, when we have interfaces, we'll be using implements. So implements always represents in the dotted lines. And when there is a class, we'll be extending them. While we doing the extending, you'll be having the dark lines. So this is how you need to read this particular hierarchy. So once again, I'm repeating it. Blues are interfaces, greens are classes, and dotted lines are implementations, and solid lines are extents. So this is how we have this particular four statements we'll be having it. Okay. Now, when we have this one, so here is what this complete the hierarchy or the collections you'll be seeing on this. The first one, the superclass. This is one of the most important question. What is a superclass in the collections framework? Superclass in the collections framework. What is a superclass in Java?
Object.
Objects.
Object. Okay. Now, specifically when someone is asking superclass in collections. Now, what is a superclass for the IEEE?
No, sir, it is an interface.
Object only, sir.
Any class will have the object. This is an interface, right? So it starts, means that is the reason you need to understand super interface. Okay, this is now means class for any particular classes, the super class is object, but not for the interfaces. So here in this one, you need to understand that now the first structure, if you see here, this particular structure. So if you see here, this complete structure, it is only the interfaces. So till this, these are the interfaces. So now if you see here, this structure, entire structure is interfaces only. Now, what it means, now it is pretty simple. Superclass is iterable. It is extended by collections. And collections is means extended by list Q sets, LQS. LQS. Iterable, collections, LQS. That means what it was happening is the superclass is iterable. And this is extended by collections. Collections extends this. Now, whatever the methods are here belongs to collection. Remember, this is collection, not collections. There is a difference between collection versus collections. Collection versus collections. Only S is different. What is the differences between this? Collection is an interface. Collections is a class. So what is the difference between these things? So we'll discuss later. But as of now, what it will happen is, now this is an interface and this is an interface. Now this interface extends this. Interface can extend interface.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that is what it was happening here. Collection extends iterable. Okay. Now, for an example, in the iterable, I have 3 methods. And in collections, I have 4 methods. Now, collection has been once again extended into LQS, list queues set. Now, how many methods I can access in the list?
Seven methods.
Seven.
Seven.
Methods.
Also, it's one.
Why you
Seven
people
and
are always you're
seven.
getting confused? So 7 methods plus its own methods also will be there, right? Why you're not considering that own methods? See, now these are, so 3 plus 4, 7 it is coming. So these are inherited methods. Its own methods also will be there, right? For list, queue, set. So 7, 7, 7 you'll get it, plus own methods. And these all things are also interfaces. Now, for an example, I have here 5, here 6, and here 8. Now, list is implemented in one class, array list. Now, how many methods I'll be having here?
12 plus
12
itself.
methods.
12 plus
12 plus 1 method.
12
12
plus
plus its own methods.
Own methods.
And here I'll be seeing the implementation. Implementation of 12 methods plus own methods. Because this array list is a class. So this is interfaces. Now come back to here. Just give me 1 second. Now you see here, if you see here, these are the list of classes. First, this is what the interfaces you have it, right? So now these are the list of interfaces you have it. Now, for this particular interfaces, the next important thing is, now let's leave these two pillars. It is not really required. Now I wanted to take care of only one pillar, which is list. So now these are the classes. So these are the classes which you have it here under the hierarchy of this. Under the hierarchy of this means array list. Now what it dotted line represents? Implementation. So now what green color represent? It's a classes, right? So now array list, linked list, vector and stack. So now this particular, so in these particular classes, the list is implemented. So now whatever the methods in the super class, which is iterable, collections, list. So when you started implementing this particular list, so now what I'm trying to do now? What I'm trying to do? Array list implements list. Okay. So now how many methods I'll be getting it here?
12 plus
12 plus own method.
12 methods which I need to implement plus the own methods of the list. Sorry, own methods of the array list would be implemented here. The same way, now how this would be? Or how this would be for the linked list?
linked list
12 plus own
Implements.
method. Sir.
Linked.
12 plus 1.
So here also 12 plus own methods. Vector.
Same 12 plus 1.
12
So any of the classes, if we are implementing with the list,
Same,
so you'll
sir.
be getting all these things. So here you'll be need to understand that array list, linked list, vector, stack, LVS, LVS or ALVS. So usually I'll remember in this way. So the first letters, so we need to remember so that you can remember it for it. So now for IC, okay, IC, LQS, and in L, LVS. So array list, linked list, vector, stack. Okay, these are the classes. These are the set of interfaces. Now here what you need to understand is each and everything. So what is array list? What is linked list? What is vector? What is stack? So topic by topic, we need to learn. And after learning these particular topics, the most important thing what you need to do is the differentiations, or where to use the array list, where to use the linked list, where to use the vector. Stack we are not using at all. So stack and vector we will not use it. Mostly we'll use these only. And 90% we use only array list. But why we need to learn this? If we are not using them, so why we need to learn this? So where to use what, it is most important. And in interviews, they will be asking you the most frequently asked question is this. Can you say the difference between an array list and linked list? What is array list? What is linked list? What is the difference between them? Now, what we need to understand is how these particular things are working in insertion, deletion, searching, manipulation, sorting. So now in all these things, how array lists will work, how linked lists work. So these are the things which you need to know the differences. Why? So I can use any one of the thing, right? So what is the point? Which one I need to use it? So there we have one thing, right? Else if and then switch. Where to use switch? Where to use else if? We clearly know that, right? So that same way here also you should know about what is array list first and where to use array list, in which of the operations it would be best and which of the operations it is not good. So those are the things which you need to understand. So that is what you're going to learn as part of this particular collections. So first of all, what you're trying to learn is you're trying to understand from where the collection starts. So collections are from the util package, and the collection hierarchy is IC, iterable, and the collections. The super interface of this one is iterable, and you have the collections. So now collection have three kids, which is LQS. So list, queues, and sets. So under the list, I have another four kids or three kids. Now we can see that array list, linked list, vector, and vector have a kid, so which is a stack, which it extends this. So anyways, we'll come to the queues and set, and queues we will not use more. So just we will be understanding the hierarchy as part of sets. We will be learning, means we also not go very detailed into the sets, but at least you will be knowing what is this hash set, linked set, sorted set, tree set. So difference between them. So these are the things which will be knowing it, because so this is the most, it gives you the content for the interview to confuse you and make the interview tougher and tougher. The people will choose the collections. If someone wanted to make this one as very tough interview for you, they choose the collections, because here everything would be logically you should understand. That is the reason this is really important for you to understand. Okay, so now what I wanted to see for you guys for tomorrow is go through what is list, what is okay. We will leave all these things apart, so we'll go one by one. Now as per the hierarchy, IC, iterable, and collections. What are the methods available in iterable? What are the methods available in the collection and in the list? So now we will come only this hierarchy. Okay, we will come in this hierarchy. Let's for the part time we'll leave this particular queues and set. So now iterable, collections, the list, and array list, linked list. Like vectors, and then this particular stack also we'll do it later. But at least these two things you need to understand thoroughly. Okay, for doing this one, I'll give you some more quicker, means no need to depend upon anyone, whatever someone on the documentations of these things, because Java is enriched in the Java docs. Okay, so now here you can give that Java docs, whatever you're referring it for 8 or 17, that you can take care. Okay, so now here you can keep collections. That's it. If you're given this one, now just as soon as you typed here, you can get that one. Just go on this. Now you can see that one. So now from which package you are getting it? Java utils. Now this is class or interface. It was saying that it is a class. Hey, we discussed it is a interface, right? Collection is an interface. Collections is a class. Okay, so as of now, I'll not jump into the collections. I should go for only collection. See, I given it as a collections. That's the reason it gave me that. Now I removed the S. So you have to be very much cautious in these things. Now you see here, as soon as I given the collection, it taken me to an interface, that is collection, which is from Java util. Okay. You want me to go through all these things? Not really required. Okay, you don't worry about it. So first of all, you need to understand that this is collection. Okay, what is a super interface this for this one? Iterable. So now you can open this one in this. So I can see the iterable. Now in this particular iterable, what are the methods you have? So here it have iterator and split iterator. Hey, do you want me to remember all these particular methods? Absolutely not. So see now, when you're talking to a person with the numbers and with the accurate values, there they'll get blank. See, when you're giving an interviewer that, okay, tell me, see, usually randomly the interviewer will throw a question for you. I tell me the collection hierarchy. If you say that iterable is a super interface and it have two methods, and when it comes to the collection, so there are collection is an interface and collections is a class, and collections have 6 methods, and then when it goes to the list have 14 methods, and these are the list of 14 methods, and queues have another 6 methods, and set have 18 methods, and so these are the set of methods. If you say this way, the interviewer will not even, he will become a spellbound. So he will not even ask you the next question, because so that gives the immense information that you have a concrete knowledge on this. So usually that's the way, if you're given that one, so that's a first impression. So he will not even go for the next question. So that actually when we learn this selenium, so I'll be training you in that particular channel. So how means what are the different interfaces, what are the different methods? I told you, right? Search context 2 methods, and then WebDriver 13 methods, and then remote WebDriver. So another 14 methods. So you'll be learning in that particular pattern, so that you can give an accurate set of information. But the worst thing is, none of the people even understand if you're given in that, unless that guy is too much technical. But learn it in that way, so that it will be easy for you for remembering a lot. But it is not so easy to learn in means remember all those things and learning it, but it is not so difficult to. Okay, coming back to here. Now this is iterable, right? Iterable is also super interface. For this particular super interface, we have two methods, which is one is iterator, and then one is a split iterator. So now what is this iterator? Returns the iterator over the element. Okay, so you might think that, hey, I'm not understanding this, what exactly it was happening. Here it gives the documentation and it gives the explanation, but still, if you feel that, hey, I didn't understand this all, perfectly fine. Because this is just an interface, and an interface, what methods are there? Now, the most important thing where it will comes to is this. So now in the collection, this is a super interface. In collection, what are the methods we have? Now let's go back and then see that. So this is Java 17. So there are a lot of new methods has been added to this. Okay, so you want me to remember all these things? Probably not really required, but you can see that add all, clear, contains all, equal, is empty, iterator, remove all, size. These things, it is pretty simple to understand it. Not too much difficult. So few methods you can remember, right? Add. Ensure the collection contains the specified elements. Means if you wanted to add certain elements to a particular collection, so then you can use add. If you're adding multiple elements, add all. Clear, remove all. Contains. If a particular object contains, for example, now I have list of things. Now I have a list of elements. Now for an example, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now I have this particular way. Characters are there. Now, if I'm searching for this one, if I'm searching for yes, is it available here? No, it returns me false. If I'm searching for G, is it available here? Then it is true. So this is how. So this particular contains all. So that will be there. And equal. compares the specific number of objects which it is present in that one. 6 elements are present or not. So these are the basic methods: add all, clear, remove all, and remove all, and even remove if, means you are keeping a condition and then removing it. So this we can do it. Contain all. So 5 to 6 methods, if you remember, that is enough. Not everything. Add all, remove all, clear, contain all. So now should, sorry, add all, remove all, contain all, clear. That's, even if you can use it equal. So these methods are there, which you can say that. Hey, can you tell me the methods? A few methods. All methods, it is not possible. So now, how many methods are there here? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So which it is coming, 20 methods are there. So now, out of 20 methods, at least if you are able to say that, at least basically 5 to 6 methods, and if you're knowing this one, we will understand. But all these methods are implemented methods. All these methods are implemented.
No, sir.
No, this is an interface, right? So you can't implement this one. So now we seen this iterable, and then in this one you have been seen on this. Now, what are the sub interfaces you have it? See, this is once again you need to remember. Hey, I'm seeing only the list, queue, and sets, right? What are these all other things? Plus, this is 17. So the document, that is the reason these documentations are very old. But I don't think they have been newly updated this. They don't even have the dates here when they have been updated. So that is the reason always you should follow with this particular latest documentation. So, and hey, you want me to remember all these things? No, not really required. At least just you learn the same thing. So now the basic things, hey, for this particular collection, on this one, for this particular collection, the sub interfaces are like a list, queue, set. Now, when it comes to this particular list, okay, now let's once again open this particular list in another tab. Now this is list. Now super interface is collection. Collection super interface is iterable. Now under this particular collection, sorry, list is also an interface. So under this particular list, what are the classes it has been implemented? Array list, linked list, vector, stack and vector. There are other classes are also there, but it is not really required for us. Now under the list, what are the methods we do have it? See, now you see here you'll be getting more number of methods, but actually you need to understand that this interface extended from collections. Now, whatever the methods are available in the collections, that would be available in the list. Whatever the methods are in iterable would be there in list.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, right? See, now let me show that. So iterator and I split iterator. So these two methods are there, right? Now go to the collections. Now in this particular method, you'll be seeing them, right? Iterator. Where is that iterator? It should be there, right? Iterator, split iterator. So this implemented these methods are there. Now you have 20 methods, right? Now the same 20 methods, let's see it in this. You see, add. So this is, what is this? Add 2 parameters, add 1 parameter. What is this called as?
Method overloading.
So these are the examples for the method overloadings. So now if the people will be asking, can you give me a real-time example of method overloading? First, you come to this in Java, you have add. In collections, you have the method with index and element with only the element. Okay, so now these all add methods, the basic add methods are coming from the collections, and overloaded methods are coming from the list. So now you can see it. Here you have how many methods you have. So here once again you'll be having this iterator and the split iterator also. Iterator. And somewhere else you'll be having a split iterator also. No, here also split iterator. And whatever the methods, you can have the size. So these methods, you'll be getting it out of this. Now these are all methods are there. So now you want me to understand all these things. Actually, I told you, right? So once I have been stored some nodes. I still remember those two names. One is Priya and then Dharani. They have been created an excellent nodes on this. Remembering on this particular collections iterable list on a complete theory, they have been created the nodes on it. However, so now what you need to understand is you need to know that how I need to read this, how I need to come and then understand this particular Java documentations. That is what you're trying to do it here, right? You're trying to understand this particular documentation and every method. So they gives you, hey, this is the method type. Okay, whether okay, what is this particular things will be written back, and what is a method name, and what are the parameters it need to be passed, and method description. So you'll be getting the complete information on this. So this is how you need to understand this particular collections. Okay, so first you need to understand your hierarchy. What are the interfaces you have it, and what is a list? In the list, what are the things we have it? Now you can see it, right? First iterable collection list. Under the list now, what we will be having it? The classes array list. Let me open the array list in another new tab. Now this is the hierarchy, right? IC, LQS, and under that one, LBS, EA. Now array list. Under the array list, now you see it. Array list is a class. Okay, so this particular array list is there. Now under this particular array list, now what are the methods are implemented? Now you can see it. What all the methods you have it, all the methods are implemented in array list class. So in this particular class, you can see all the methods whichever you are able to see it in the list. So now what it will happen in the array list, as we discussed, all implemented methods, sorry, inherited methods, all inherited methods plus its own methods will do have the implementation for them, right? So now you can see it. Term to size, it is not there, right? Now remaining things are there, right? So all these things are implemented here. Means iterable collections list. These are all inherited methods are implemented in the array list. Same way, it would be shown in the linked list also. So in the linked list, so these all same methods will be implemented. And same means with this methods plus own methods would be there, right? Now here you can see it. Peek first, pull first, pop, push. So these are the things which it required for the linked list. Means it's means inherited methods, whatever the inherited methods from the iterable collections list, it comes plus its own methods are there, right? So that own methods are this peek, pull, push. So these all things would be there. So that is how this documentation would be there. So you need to understand on this documentation. Never depend upon these particular portals. See, I'm saying that I'm not saying that these portals are bad, but these portals are documented long back. Now, it is not that every time they can go and update those particular contents, right? That is not possible. But you need to depend. The single source of truth is this particular from the Oracle. So now Java was taken care by Oracle, right? So now they give the original documentation, and you need to sit and see the documentation here, so that it would be proven. Because in many of the interviews, when we are talking about it, so people used to, we will be having certain arguments. So can you show? At that time, the people used to open and show this. Then we will be saying it, boss, you are following the wrong documentation. Go to this documentation and see it. And then we will be seeing it. So now this would be the core content which you'll be getting it from here. So that's how you need to follow and then do this particular documentation reading. Don't depend upon on any of these things. See, for your reference, absolutely fine, you can take this. But you tell me, is this the right diagram when we compare to this? So now when I am seeing this particular thing, you just go for the collections itself. And the collection, is it that, see how many interfaces it was taking care? And simple. So they'll be saying that they have been created based upon Java 8. But now we are in the 17 and 18, right? So obviously these particular interfaces would be added in the latest things. So you have to be very much cautious on this. So what I wanted to see you for here is tomorrow you would be having an implementation which I wanted to see it. Take the means first of all understand what is iterable, collection, and the list and array list. So this wing which you need to take care and then to show me tomorrow the implementations of that. What is array list and array list versus array? So this is another important question. Difference between an array list and array list. So array and array list, and how many methods are there and how to implement this one. So already we have been implemented the array so that it will be easy for you. So do this implementation and come back for tomorrow, and then you should show me on this particular implementations. Got it?